Hey everybody, welcome back to X's for Show. I'm Nico.
I'm TK.
That makes me Tori.
I'm Jonah.
And that makes me your producer, KEVO. You can find me at KEVO Really. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we know what you want us to cover in the future. But we got a lot of drag to talk about today.
Oh my god, yeah, we got Canada, we got Meet the Queens, which I keep going to put Meet MTG and not in that way, funny enough. And then we got the end of UK. I'm so excited. I want to kick things off right away with I can't wait to see Joella on that worst mattress list, as Kevo had up at the start of the broadcast. Very excited about that for her. It'd be good for her to make it on a cool list like that. But until we're done sleeping on that, okay, I want to start with, this was a weird thing where it was the design challenge or it was the Snatch Game, and I wonder if it was because so much of the acting challenge wasn't funny.
I actually think it's what we've been asking for. We've been asking for an opportunity for the girls to get to pick their own journey towards greatness. So these girls were given the opportunity to really shine. And I was like, oh, this is great. Am I sad that I'm missing out on 5 people's like Snatch characters? Yes, but maybe I'm not that sad.
Yeah,
next week they were just going to do Snatch Game and Design Challenge again, but it was going to be just swap the two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did wonder similar things as both Nico and Tori. You know, like I had moments where I was like, did they just sort of realize that there was something unsustainable? And then on the other hand, like Canada, I think sets their girls up for more success. I think they do a lot of things that we talk about that I wish the US and UK shows would do. And I do wonder if it has something to do with how divorced they maybe are from World of Wonder actually being a part of production. But, you know, a kind of different example, I feel like I'm noticing Saltina having this recurring motif of a sort of lack of confidence when it's not necessary, when she's actually doing well. And like, you know, it seemed like she was very upset about how she was doing in the Yacht Girls challenge, and she talked about being in her head in the first challenge, and in both cases she did fine, or if not, you know, won. And it feels like on the US on a US season that might very turn quickly into an edit of like, who is this crazy creature that can't get out of her own way, and RuPaul doing this whole thing. And in Canada, it's presented like we do see her fully saying she got in her own head in the first episode and also seeming pretty nervous in the second episode. But then she just wins. And so sort of in that same vein, rather than kind of like putting her through an ugly edit, they allowed people to, except for poor PM, to make a choice and maybe not put themselves through a challenge that they simply knew they would not do well in, and that they, you know, if given the option, would choose not to do.
I really hear that. I think one of the things that surprised me the most was I thought this was like a real C, like I rewatched it and I thought this was a real C-level Snatch Game. I thought that a lot of the jokes were very rote, very basic, very too rehearsed to be funny in a lot of cases. It kind of reminded me of the acting challenge where I was so uncomfortable by some of the jokes, and like it felt very much like if this was what some of the girls picked, they've got bad feedback squads. And like that is where I was very, and for the record, Jonah, Kevo, and I thought that Sammy Landry was the funniest part of the acting challenge.
Oh, she
if
should
I
have won.
smoke one more cigarette, I'll die. And
Yep.
they were like, you're not funny. And I was like, oh, she was hysterical. And again, I think this is an A+ talent girl list. But I did think that while I am very happy for the winner and the critiques I mostly agreed with on the stage, this was kind of like UK Snatch Game for me, where yes, the winner did well, but there wasn't a lot of competition.
Yes, but I do want to say on rewatch, on looking at these photos, only one group actually, in my mind, did bad, which was the singles cruise, because they just didn't do the prompt. They, instead of it being about singles, they did horny. There's nothing wrong with selling sex or making something horny, but that wasn't the prompt and that wasn't the challenge. And so it felt a little weird that somebody who, from an audience perspective, at least 3 people, were like, she did amazing. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Her voice and what her lines were hysterical.
Hysterical.
To like put her in the bottom 3, and then she was lip sync. I was like, are we not saying the same thing? Are we delusional? Are we just like delusional Sammy stans? And like
also, Sammy was on Saltina's team.
Yeah.
Why didn't you pick your team member? It's very fascinating. That choice, even the girls were like, wow, left field.
So it was just so bizarre that this person was put in the bottom when we thought that she did incredible. And you had this group, which arguably, outside of Ebony, I think all the other 3 were worthy of being the bottom 3.
I just want to agree. Sammy definitely turned 19 in Poland.
Get out.
Oh Lord.
Google
Yeah,
that, kid.
The kids don't need to.
I was gonna say the kids. No, we had to Google it because we're all old.
Olds.
I really, I mean, I agree. Like, I thought Sammy was really funny, and I was very confused that she was in the. I also agreed that she was kind of in the top, and I was very confused that she was in the bottom for that challenge. I was confused that Saltina won because, again, like, she was very unconfident, and I don't think she did badly. I wouldn't have necessarily put her in the bottom, but maybe low safe. I thought she did have a good idea for how to play the character and to turn it into something, and it had a moment, but like I saw an opportunity for that character to be Sasha Colby. Yeah. And it just wasn't, which is fine. Like, not everybody gets to have that moment at that time. I will say, I thought Albert Einstein was a really funny choice and well executed. We talked a few weeks ago about like great Snatch games and what makes them. This didn't have all of the factors that make a great Snatch game, and it's not just girls doing well or not doing well that make a great Snatch game. I don't think Rook is the best host of a Snatch game. For all of her ridiculousness and for all that she can be horrible to girls who might do well in Snatch Game, Ru can be a really good host of Snatch Game. And that insane RuPaul laugh when it hits on a girl's joke that is like funny and she brings up the energy of the room with her laugh, it is game changing. I love her so much. Brooke doesn't really have anything like that. She doesn't roll to me with the humor well. Pythia and Isis did. I felt like they could have hosted without really? Were you feeling that, Nico?
I was gonna say, I thought that Isis looked beautiful, sounded beautiful, and came kind of unprepared.
Yes, I do think she's unprepared. She has a natural thing that works.
Yeah.
I did feel like she was not prepared. Yeah, I don't think she did the homework. I think her presence is really good. And Pythia is, I mean,
Pythia is like perfect top to bottom.
Yeah, all around. I don't think. Yes, I think Brooke is not a great host for Snatch. I think Carson might have done a great job for this. And like, I thought why Maya was so successful, and I did think she was like a great of Snatch Game, even though when she said she wanted to do Teresa Caputo, I was like, that's a terrible choice, that's going to go horribly. But she didn't rely on Brooke. She really relied on her castmates. That whole Jesus bit, which was the funniest part of the whole thing and was like a long bit, relies on her going directly to Sammy and has basically nothing to do with Brooke, who is kind of holding things back. I feel bad for Velma, who was not doing great anyway, but I felt like Brooke almost refusing to volley with Velma in some ways held a mediocre performance into bad.
Well, I think part of it is, I don't know if Brooke is the best volleyist, but you also have to see if someone's are they playing tennis to volley or are they trying to play baseball? I unfortunately think Velma, like, I think the critique of you had your bits prepared and you were going to do them no matter what, even if it didn't make sense, I think is what still would have put her in the bottom had she volleyed with RuPaul or Carson, because that's not how improv works. You can have a bit in your head that you know you want to get to, but you have to also naturally get to the stage you can do the bit. And it felt like the things she had ideas for jokes were about just didn't really work. I don't want to make an excuse, but like she also is an ESL queen.
Yeah, oh no, so, I was going to get to that too. You're 100% right.
One of my favorite interviews that we did was with what is his? Oh my god, I feel so bad that I forgot his name, but he translates Peach Momoko books.
Yeah.
And he's
Zach Davidson.
Yes, Zach Davidson. Thank you so much. And Zach Davidson was telling us that one of the hardest things to translate is comedy. Comedy in different languages really might not translate to a completely different language. Like different cultures, different languages will have jokes based off of whatever that doesn't always work. So I imagine her having to be funny in not her first language was also a detriment to her, not her fault. The show that, if you're on Canada, UK, Down Under, US, you're mostly speaking English. And I imagine that maybe if this was in French, it would have been a lot easier for her because she's not having to think about having to translate what she's trying to say.
I agree, but I also feel like it just was not an excellent choice. And I forget which other contestant pointed out, like, what's with all the politicians? I feel like Trump was such a great caricature that now people try to do everyone. And I don't think MTG was a great choice either. Not even coming for the performances so much as just the choice of maybe that's not the best realm for Snatch Game in the first place,
Yeah, Marjorie the Gatherer was just absolutely not what I wanted. And Jonah, to your point about sometimes translations make things funny or unfunny, I think that's why America doesn't find Jerry Lewis funny, but France does. So I just can't even for a moment let it go that I got to see Shea Coulee this year finally, and I got to see her sing, and she sang the Christmas song by Nat King Cole, and it was so great. And I get being so inspired by her that it's hard to step away from it. And that's like one of the dangers of where Rihanna sounds like she's doing a weird accent of her accent on Diamonds because she's copying Sia from the demo track. So and if you put it in Sia's voice and you hear Shine Bright Like a Diamond, not to bring up someone horrible, but if you listen to a lot of early Bad Boy music, a lot of early Bad Boy Records music, and you hear a lot of in the chorus vocals from random people, you know exactly where it's coming from when you put it in that person's voice. And I think Caramilk is so beautiful and so funny and so clever and very capable. And I think when you are faced with an all-time great, you can't help. We're all fan goths now. You can't help but fall into doing a loving impression. I know that I can't sing "There She Goes" without sounding like Lee Nash. So these things happen.
It was my immediate I was not super worried that Maya was going to be treading on Jeremy's territory with Teresa Caputo, but I did immediately go to Shea Coulee for Flavor Flav. And the thing is, I love Shea so much. I did not love that Snatch Game. I understand what people liked about it, and I do think it was successful in terms of her being quite funny and tapping into something. I'm just such a reality TV junkie of that era. I was bothered that it didn't have a lot of Flava Flav in it. Like a lot of the stuff that made Flava Flav insanely funny to me in that era. And so for Caramilk, I was really worried when it seemed like this was going to be an impression of Shea doing an impression of Flava Flav, which even could work. It could be funny, but what could really make you stand out in this competition now is to actually do Flava Flav and to pick up all the stuff that Shay didn't do because she was doing her own thing. And so like the fact that nobody who is doing these Flava Flav impressions gives everybody a nickname, the entire basis of what made Flava of Love funny in the beginning. Some of those nicknames are so stupid, but it's how we have Tiffany New York Pollard. Like Tiffany New York would not exist without Flavor Flav calling her New York. And like to give these other 5 people nicknames, to give Isis and Zeus and Brooke nicknames, that alone could have been most of her jokes. And then doing the yeah boy, which is really just kind of pulling off of Shay, that still could have worked, but she would have had her own signature bit. And there's just a few other things. I forget what was the name of the show with Brigitte Nielsen.
Oh yeah,
but
it's in there.
Yeah, there's a few things from that. Like if you watch a clip show of Flava of Love season 1 and then the show with Brigitte Nielsen, you have enough jokes to last you 6 Snatch Games.
Well, yeah, I feel like the level of Flava Flav that we saw on this was actually, and this is not to knock it, the level of Deja's Little John layered over Shay's performance. And I think that's sort of what we got here. I agree. Jonah, your baseball comment totally hits for me as a Yankees fan. Everybody's always complaining that all we do is swing for the fences and we don't know how to play baby ball. And you're right. This is an opportunity to play the little bits to crawl your way into at least safe. And none of them really were ready to do that. And I also agree with folks who say that Brooke is an interesting choice for host of Snatch Game, because I actually think that Brooke and Carson would actually both do the same thing that I am willing to knock Brooke for, which is that they want to get the zings in back on the contestants. And I think that's something that RuPaul doesn't really do. RuPaul gives you all the rope to handle yourself. And then Brooke is really just like, oh, so you just don't know anything. Okay, bye. And it's like, well, we didn't need that.
Well, and they cut a few times to Brooke laughing out of sequence, like laughing at nothing anyone said. So obviously there's cuts, obviously there's edits, but I'm completely with you. And I do want to say,
which were also harder to hide because we had an audience this time, which I was super amped about. That we had like 5 girls there, and then instead of being good audience members and hyping them each other up, they were just like there to just like slowly zone out and be like, wow, everything's terrible. Which isn't helpful.
The only thing I really want to put out there, and Tori, I feel like you're the person to handle this with me. I loved the overall of Teresa Caputo. Accents are such a funny thing. Because I feel like that Long Island accent is so hard to get down when you have so much Francophile influence from being from an area that I believe you know the island as I do, and like I think one of the things that is fascinating is that like because Flava Flav is such an over the top caricature, it's not hard to get his accent right. And I thought the voice was down. I thought the voice was perfect. Yes. I thought like Keke Palmer and Einstein sounded nothing like Keke Palmer or Einstein.
But I think they gave the vibe that they were going. I mean, this Albert Einstein is a very specific.
It's Albert Einstein and Albert
IQ. Einstein. Yeah,
it's a very specific, cartoonish Albert Einstein that I believe you would have found in like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It is cartoonish is what I would describe it as,
which I think is perfect for Snatch Game.
I don't disagree.
No, and I want to agree with you that I think I personally, in my mind, if you want to do a Snatch Game of someone, whoever you're doing, it needs to be 2 things. I think it either needs to be like a cartoon character or it needs to be the drag version of them. And I love Ebony LaBelle. But I don't know, and I thought she did good as Keke Palmer, but Keke Palmer's already kind of a drag queen, and I think it's harder to dragify Keke Palmer because she already is so over the top already, that I think it's hard to make a Snatch Game performance of her. I thought it was a good impression, and I thought she was great and had great energy. But it wasn't like a winning performance for me, unfortunately, because I think Keke Palmer is hard to do.
Yeah, and she's wearing my jeans. Ashley Tisdale is wearing my jeans.
I mean, I would have loved to get that reference because I was worried that she was going to be. And this is another one I was really disappointed. I cannot go through a day of doom scrolling without getting at least 2 top 5 Keke Palmer moments. And then it's I'm sorry to this man.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, and like the fact that we got I Know It Ain't the Stallion, but didn't get any others. But again, I even would have taken Keke Palmer's Wearing My Jeans because that's funny too, even though it's not her saying it.
It's Nessa Rose.
And the fact of the matter is, you guys are right about Long Island accents. Unless it had been done on a season like season 8, where all the girls were from New York, no one's ever going to clock it. Again, when Jeremy did it, nobody said it wasn't good either, because like just nobody. It's an accent that if you don't have a lot of experience with, everybody feels like, oh yeah, I hear it. That sounds like it. That's good enough for me.
And the New Yorkan accent, where it's like kind of New Jersey, New York, Long Island, Westchester, Staten Island.
I was gonna say, and then like you have a lot of people who will do an accent, and it's like an Italian American accent, but I hear it and I go, no, you've been around too many Jewish people. That's actually a Jewish New Yorker accent and not an Italian accent, and they do sound different. Like I recognize them because I know a lot of Jewish New Yorkers, but if you are not from those communities or live in that area, you will hear them and think they sound
800 hours of The Nanny when you were 5.
Yeah,
precisely.
Pirelli sounds like Patti LuPone. You're missing the point.
And so that's always one of those interesting things with Drag Race where it's like, I don't think it's worth clocking and stopping somebody and being like, you didn't get the accent right. But it is, I don't know, for a show that can nitpick, sometimes I do wonder.
I think that was my point, even because it definitely. I think, like I said, no question, Maya won.
I mean, the humor alone was fantastic. Yeah.
But like, I did feel like that is the thing where like we have that sliding scale where people will be like, your hems are a fucking mess, and I want to be like, okay, but I've seen all of you have shitty hems. Right. But like people will be like, your accent, that accent is beautiful.
I mean, and nobody clocked Saltina for not going into a hard Austrian accent for Albert Einstein.
It was like vaguely German, vaguely.
Yeah, it was somewhere in the region, but like it wouldn't. A lot of the jokes would not have landed a la Poor Velma because a thick accent is going to get you into the territory of like, am I actually speaking another language or speaking with the cadence and comedic timing of a language that is not this one? So it's all kind of up in the air and up for grabs. But again, I do think there's this thing of like, well, sometimes the show likes to pick those details and be like, this is why you are not up to snuff. And it's sort of like, no, because everybody has these moments where they are not the perfect, again, they don't have the perfect hems, but the outfit's really cool. So we let it slide. But then other times we get on the runway and go, that's costumey. Right. But it's the coolest costumey thing I've ever seen. So I don't care that it's not fashion in this one moment. I don't know. That's where I get so suspicious of things with the show.
I also just want to say that I want to give credit to Saltina for out of drag looking like Rod Stewart and in drag looking like one of Rod Stewart's wives.
Yeah, truly, get you a man who can do both.
That transformation is exceptional. And one more time, let's give it up for Van Gogh, who is out here serving the got milk of Gottmik. I just absolutely
forgetting this quote. Missed it when we watched it, but this is even what I was saying with the way that, again, I've come to love her so much, but as she's walking around to her alliances, I forget which season it was where they were like, you have an alliance with everyone. That's not alliances anymore.
It's Rita Repulsa toward the end of Power Rangers. She's just on everybody's side.
It's also the thing with the Dean on Community where
if you make conspiracies with everyone,
you're just doing stuff. Yeah,
no, but I love it.
It's really good, especially because nobody's taking it that seriously yet.
Exactly.
I mean, I hope it doesn't go that direction, but nobody's really crying. I mean,
Stardoll took it that seriously.
I was gonna say Stardoll is crying. Yeah.
Oh.
And go.
Oh no, I said I want to get there, but I think part of what made this week so interesting, I love that Canada always is that girl that's trying to take swings. They try to take swings no matter if it lands or not. They go for the big swing. So I absolutely love it. So I love the choose your own adventure of this. It doesn't help when you had the top two winners, who I completely agree with this week, kind of dog walk everybody else.
Yeah.
Because it was very evident who the two winners were. Maya kind of dog walked everybody else, and Van Gogh also dog walked on the runway. Yeah. So it was just kind of like, well, it really kind of wasn't a competition for either of these challenges, because one person from each just kind of dominated the field.
I also really appreciate Van's choice of how she distributed the beaver, because it's not PM's fault that they got a challenge they didn't want, but then that also makes the entire experiment unhinged, that you're forced into a situation you didn't want, so you didn't make art that was great, and then somebody did try to even it out, but I don't know, it got kind of messy because of that.
It was also wild that unknowingly Maya got to choose, because she was picked last, which they never addressed that Maya was picked last.
They don't.
They sort of
she
go.
She got the advantage. She just got to choose whatever she wanted.
Yeah, no, totally. But again, that's the thing where US could turn it into a whole episode about her that now feeling bad, and then making her go have a fight with somebody about it. And even the fight with PM and Hazel is just, and Hazel's I feel stupid, I didn't even, it's that moment which is so believable where you're on a reality TV show, things are moving fast, you just maybe make a decision and don't necessarily think, and you can see that Hazel, had she thought about it, maybe would have picked her best friend just because they're best friends, and it wasn't strategic. PM's upset because she's in a shitty situation. They both acknowledge those things, and then the episode continues, and later she is able to comfort her. Whereas in US, I feel this could have become the entire storyline, not just of the episode, but of 3 episodes. And I love, as you said, that Canada takes big swings. I also like that they skip swings, or the big swing is not going for a dramatic storyline that maybe is just, what is it giving us at the end of the episode? I really enjoyed this one, and there wasn't that much interpersonal drama that is just a lot of noise. They also last episode settled Van Gogh and Dulce, again, really in a mature way, but one that is still had some of the humor and the dragginess and the cuntiness, and Dulce, they didn't hug and say they'd be best friends forever. Dulce was I don't know, maybe we still won't like each other.
Yeah, she was I still don't trust her.
Yeah, exactly. But
Dulce looked so good, so good this episode. I was so impressed. I really enjoyed. I think the beavers were given out in a very interesting way this week, where I think both sides kind of went, if we pick this wrong, we're sending up someone possibly against a lip sync assassin, and they're just gonna get slaughtered. And I think they set it up for, all right, let's have 2 semi-similar styles go into this and duke it out. And I think that was possibly the fairest way they could have done it.
I also like that they gave one to PM and a former PM. Mm-hmm. One went to PM and one went to Justin Trudeau. So I just think that it was just absolutely pussy maximalizing.
And truly, if Justin Trudeau, she should have been pulling out. I wish that a year ago Katy Perry was with Justin Trudeau, because I think that really served something here.
I want to kind of move us a little bit toward the end of Canada. I want to give everybody the room to say everything they want about Canada. I want to say that I think Stardoll is a loss. Suki Doll proved that she is a mega star who, even though I only got 2 episodes with Star or 3 episodes with Star, I now understand Suki so much better from Slasian that I feel like she would never have a drag daughter that isn't absolute excellence. And so what I don't know about Stardoll, I am filling in like a faninista, and I am giving her the details I want her to have so that she is as fabulous as she is in my head. This is my second favorite Brooke moment from the season. My first favorite is seeing her dance. Literally one of the best things I've ever seen. Guys, sound off on Canada. Congratulations to Maya. Congratulations to Saltina. You guys worked and you won and you deserve it. And of course, Van Goth, but we're all Fan Goths. So, this could just be Fangoria if we wanted it to. So, TK, hit me with Canada. Tori, let's go down the line.
Yeah, I mean, I'm loving this season so much. This is really, it's feeling like a standard bearer for the Drag Race franchise in a way that other things are really faltering. Talking about big swings, the thing that this season is really making me think about is I'd love if US or other places did this, but Canada seems like they would be likely to actually try something like this. I really want to stop sending girls home for a while on mainline seasons. The thing Star did the worst this episode.
Would you save girls and then send like 4 home at once?
No, yeah, actually what I would do is it would be a point system, and then I would say at 4 to 6 girls, we're going to reveal what the actual standing is, and you're going to go home. But when you're going into debt to bring a package so that people can see what you do, I want you to have the 6 weeks or 4 weeks, even if you're not going to be America's Next Drag Superstar, because a lot of what this is an audition to the world for, can I have a fandom, please, at this point.
Love it.
It didn't used to be that, but it is now. We're about to talk about 14 new girls, and they'll stay a couple weeks probably because we don't send girls home usually, but some of those girls look amazing and are not going, and went into debt, huge debt, because it's bigger in the US than it is in Canada. And they're not going to get to show what they brought because they had a bad night. Girls with a ton of potential. So I would love to see Canada maybe practice a point system that gets revealed later. That's where I'm at. I love these girls so much. Even like I said, it was Star's week to be the lowest, but I really wanted to see more from her. And I there's nobody now that I want to see go at all, and it's going to be really, really tough to see people not get to feature the way they wanted to.
I love that. Tori, hit me with all your thoughts.
Yeah, I this episode made me kind of like sit down and be like, is Canada my new favorite series? Because I just was so in love with everything that we were trying out this time. I was really touched with Brooke coming over in her little slippers to take care of Star. I just found this to be just a delight of an episode, and I was really touched by it and excited by it. And so I'm so excited to see what happens next, because we are going back to the Reed battles. So this is going to be a fun one again.
Poor Velma. She should get to do it in French. They should have a francophone host. I don't know if Brooke is fluent in French, but I would love it if she was.
We shall see.
We shall see. I have a couple quick notes. I'm gonna rapid fire go through. One, thank you to all these Canada girls for always giving great reactions. Every single time they it is the most hyper exaggerated drag reaction, and it brings me joy every single time. All of these faces. Please, any potential girls watching, this is what you do. You want to be on TV, you want your moments, make faces like this, react to everything like it's the worst thing you ever heard. It's hysterical.
I call it Muppet acting. You always need to look like you're alive in the background.
Yes, absolutely. That's number 1. Number 2, Drag Race, please, more Carly Rae Jepsen songs. 3,
yes, please.
I know you're watching because you're incredible, and I hope you're a fan of us as much as we're a fan of you. I really hope you brought a mop for the way that you pissed on the runway this week, because my God, this is what I watched the show for. This is what I watched the show for, to see this talent showcase. My God, this was just incredible. And 3, I was so heartbroken by this lip sync, which we'll get to it towards the end, but this was better than every single lip sync on UK7. I was not this heartbroken to lose someone since losing Mirage. To see someone who wanted it so badly in real time realize that a dream that they had or a goal, they just weren't going to get it. That was really heartbreaking. And Stardall, if you do see this, you are beloved, you are incredible, you did great. Please don't, like Brooke said, it sucks right now in the moment, but it's not. This isn't define you. This doesn't define your queendom. So, like, amazing job.
I also want to say that's the kind of fashion we watched Project Runway for too. Like, it was that level of breathtaking,
insane.
Runway Canada.
When?
And to piggyback, good.
I was saying it's going. I think it finished, didn't it? Project Runway Canada.
Yes, so season 2, she'll be able to, apply.
Wow.
To piggyback off what everyone else is saying, this was really devastating, and it's one of the things that made this chaotic challenge and experiment that I'm not sure how to feel about. This is what I like to call the Ivy Winter Fragrance Challenge loss, where sometimes it's just the luck of the challenge that it didn't really work in your favor. This is devastating, and she's definitely all-star material for sure. All-stars or versus the world or something. This cannot be the last that we see. But I'm devastated. Her interviews gave such great energy. She was so sweet
Really
and
great.
so cute. And so I'm sad about that. But, still really loving this season.
All right. Well, from Drag Race Canada giving us life back after a rough year to Meet the Queens, let's just do it. Athena Dion, Briar Blush, Sierra Mist, Darlene Mitchell, Didi Fuego, Discord Adams, Jane Don't, Juicy Love Dion, Kenya Pleaser, Mandy Mango, Mia Star from Wilton Manors, girl, I know where you drink, Mickey Meeks, Nini Coco, what a cute name, and Vita Von Tess Star. I gotta say, I think IRL, I would be friends with Sierra Mist because she came out in an Angela costume and that shit served. Athena Dion, we got a Greek queen. Briar Blush out here absolutely representing Boston. And only one New York girl. What is your problem?
Girl?
5 girls from Florida, 1 girl
Yep.
from New York, 1 girl from LA.
Florida years. They're dipping into the humid waters of Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I legitimately do think it has something to do with courting conservatives because, like, yeah, and then that's fine. It's
Hey, listen. Let's elevate more local girls in red states.
yeah, exactly.
PBH.
I also
Let's
wonder
do
if
it.
with like year-round dragability, so they can build up more of a fan base instead of New York, where it's too cold to have your tits out, mama.
You're not going out. Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of
Okay.
reasons for it. And we lived through a heyday. I mean, we had to almost suffer through. I talked about it before, season 8, and the talking about being from New York of it all. I at the time loved it, but it also, like, it was annoying the girls at the time. There's so many girls from New York talking about being from New York, talking about New York. So, like, if everybody just wants to talk about,
We get it, Britta.
Lake Okeechobee, I guess that's what we're going to be doing, and that's great. Yeah, this is a really fascinating bunch. What I noticed immediately is I don't know if this was the choice of girl or the choice of interview questions plus prompting in the interviews, but everybody talked about old stuff, like being inspired by classics, being inspired by classic drag, but classic music as well. A lot of people talked about 90s Dolly Parton, Cher. You've got something on this story?
They're all old as hell.
Yeah, they are also a bunch of fucking old
Up in our
heads.
age. We got
Yep.
what we wanted. Seasoned
Yep.
queens, ladies and gentlemen, and it is wonderful.
Oh,
Athena
the
at
golden
38,
snatchler.
Athena at 38, Didi at 37. We don't have ages for Sierra or Discord or Kenya, but I bet they're. Oh, Mia Star's 39 and the most gorgeous man alive. Mia Star, I don't know what to do about that situation.
I don't have that one.
Okay, everybody.
Well, Mia Star's really easy to look up because she has been a dancer in every
Oh,
man's
yeah.
music. Yeah, I mean, like, good God.
I don't know.
And apparently was doing callbacks for contestants on The Voice when she got her callback to be on Drag Race. I have some questions about sort of being, and Nico, you brought this up, I forget in what context, but the idea of like, you're already a working entertainment professional in the industry, and then you're going on the show. I have some questions about that, but we're early on, and so not going right into that. But everybody really like, for one thing, also nobody talked about. I'm like a bitch, and I'll be really mean to people's faces.
Briar Blush,
No,
1,000% was like,
There's
I'm
some of
that
that.
bitch. I'm the girl who's gonna shut you down. Like,
I will
dragged.
Yes. Briar's representing Boston very well. I do highly recommend heading over to Entertainment Weekly, because they drop their interviews with the season 18 queens like they normally do, except instead of the 30 to 45 minute group interview that it's been in the past, this was a 12 to 15 minutes one-on-one with each queen, over 3 hour video, just going to town and you learn a whole bunch. You get to see them in another amazing look. Like, it was just, I really feel like between that and everything else and the Meet the Queens links, like, we are really getting to know these girls now and see what they can accomplish just from before we even see them enter the workroom.
I obsessively love that perspective because, like, honestly, hey, that's a Greek boy. What's up?
Oh my God, right? There's so much trade this season.
Yeah, there is a
They're
bit
all
of it.
very attractive out of drag, and I don't know how to feel about this.
Yeah,
Well,
I feel great.
And one of the things that's so interesting is, like, we're at a place where your out of drag persona is becoming as important as your in drag persona.
100%.
People follow you for who you really are. And so this escalation of what it takes to be a drag star on this show is very fitting to the way we've remolded our identity of what a drag queen is in social media. I feel like we are also reaching a point where the show doesn't necessarily want to ignore existing celebrities, but the show is looking to create its own celebrities. God, just straight up Angela greatness, a little bit Starfire, a little bit Angela, a little bit perfection. So handsome out of drag.
Right? Another
I
one.
really feel like one of the things,
Flame Con, Sierra.
right? One of the things that this season is already promoting is the girl is the package. She is the whole package. She is the person in drag. She is the person out of drag. She is the talent she displays. She is the artistry she shows. She is the looks she wears. She is the dancing she does or does not do. As some of these girls have already said, excuse me, my knees are poorly insured. I think what this Meet the Queens gave me that previous Meet the Queens didn't, and we've already touched on it, is previous Meet the Queens were always like, I'm here to be that bitch. Mama, I'm gonna slay like my name was Faith. Like, and we're getting girls that are a little bit more like, no, I mean, like, you've got to be big, you've got to be loud, but I'm a whole person. I'm not just an image. And like, none of the girls that said it in the past were just an image. They've all been a fully rounded person, but we're reaching a place where there's almost a fiduciary responsibility of the show to set these girls up to be able to make money. And I think this Meet the Queens humanized the girls under the makeup without ever showing them under the makeup in a way that I think MTQ often struggles to do.
Well, I also want to say on that note about Meet the Queens, congratulations to Mistress for elevating herself to producer level, because the fact that every single person was asked, "Are you doing your big one this year?"
And all of them were like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm not a child.
I literally love all of them going, sure, why not? I'll do my big one. I
loved that, and I'm missing her name right now. Mickey Meeks was like, what? Did Mistress write this question? The fuck?
You mean Ginger Minge's niece?
No.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Like bio niece or like
drag me. I don't know. That's
hey! I'm not here to judge. Question. We've been around that long.
Sometimes drag queens have straight family, and it's.
I mean, Sabrina Carpenter is the niece of Bart Simpson. Shit happens.
It's true.
Also, quickly, so I did a little bit of what I used to do back in the day when a cast was announced. I used to do a little bit of sleuthing to see people's performances, to see like what is their performance style like what do they try to do, what's their gig, what's their zhuzh. I am caught in this love-hate idea of wanting to see Juicy in the bottom because I've seen clips of her lip syncing, and my God, I sit there slack-jawed, but like I want her to do well, so I don't want her in the bottom, but I want to see her perform.
Let's have some lip sync for the crowns. Let's have some, or the win. Let's have some lip syncs for the win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can be so fun. I'm so excited. I think a lot of these girls are going to be really crazy awesome performers. I'm excited to see how these lip syncs go. There's just so many of these queens that I'm just like, oh wow, I really love this. Oh wow, I really love that. Mandy Mango brought her own crown. Grew it. I was gonna say grew it right out of her head, but I know that's not true. The gravitas, the awareness, the referentiality that is being presented in these queens, the strong personalities, the fashion, it's all, everything is really here in a way that I'm just like, I understand now why like pre-season 12 queens are like, I wouldn't go back if you paid me. Like you'd have to pay me more because I can't give this. I don't have the connections for this. I don't do this.
Speaking of connections, I have a little bit of a concern about the Dion family thing.
Okay.
The Warwicks.
Thank you. It could be nothing. It could just be a cute, like, oh, we're here. Oh, look, it's a NICO. Very cute NICO. What a match.
Look, she's
I don't.
Everything too.
I think it's fun when there's family connect. Like I love the idea that Carrie Colby was on the show and then Sasha Colby was on the next season. There was a while where everybody was from the same LA family that had like Detox, Mayhem, Delta, and that part of it is because they're working with talent agents and representation on both sides that have connections with these people, and you get a discount. You get my girl on, that we'll make sure that this one's ready for next season, or if we put this girl on, can you give us these opportunities for touring? We know there's a lot of dealing that we don't know about but is happening around management, talent, family, all of those things.
I'm actually kind of surprised there isn't more of a cottage industry around more than just the fashion. That there isn't like, oh, drag race boot camp, sewing classes, drag race boot camp, dancing, all of these kinds of things.
Yes,
yeah. Where is that cottage industry? Because it's obviously not being used.
Start musical camp.
Yeah, do it.
We're doing it.
Do it.
Okay.
I mean, and it would be nice because the show isn't doing it. It's that thing that Nicole Baer was talking about. Like, nobody is teaching these girls how to come up with a Snatch Game character. And that I do think that's when you, like, again, she gave a 3-minute lesson on a podcast, and I think it's almost everything you need. Figuring out how to do a rusical is actually a lot of difficult stuff that I think a boot camp where you just sort of practice singing like a song that like you should sing well, but it is not going to be a Broadway show, like a production where you're going to learn choreography and you have to learn it quickly, but nobody's asking you to do the best job ever. You just have to learn a little bit. Like this is just about getting the basics. Actually, I think that is a brilliant idea. I think you guys should start that. But yeah, all the way back to it, Morphine was a fantastic queen and a really great character. And Athena seems awesome. Juicy seems awesome. I think they will be really cool. Sometimes I'm sort of like, what do you, World of Wonder, want me to go into this with? And also, more importantly, what are you expecting me to take out of this? Like, do you want me to get excited to see them fight? Like, are we crashing towards their lip sync that we contrive to get there so one of them wins a challenge they're absolutely not supposed to win so that they can stay another week. One of them loses one that they actually did phenomenally well at so that they're in the bottom so that they can lip sync together. We've seen these contrivances on Drag Race. They are getting old, and having the big sign flashed in front of us this early, Dion and Dion, what's going to happen? I'm not looking at it getting excited for what the drama potential could be. I'm grabbing my table going, I'm concerned about when this puts us on a road towards, stuff that is not dignified for these contestants in order to give us that TV moment that, like Canada's showing us, they're not that good. When you don't have them, the season doesn't suffer dramatically because girls can pull stuff out like reacting dramatically to events, and that's plenty. We don't need to contrive to get them into lip syncs they were never supposed to be doing.
What this meaty, thick queers showed me was that you can actually go back from the 16 crayons in a box where 4 are neon, 4 are pastel, 4 are shading, and you can go back to one of each girl. And while I definitely see the family connections, one of the things that I was so excited about was a couple of girls were like, I don't dance, I'm a fashion queen. I don't dance, I'm a reaction queen. I don't dance, I'm a singing queen. And then you had girls that were like, I dance. And you had girls that were like, I'm classically trained in dancing. Like, I was given a beautiful selection of talent here. And what made me excited about it, and I'm so glad that our opinions are like almost like not contrasting, but they're complementary in that regard, in going into this, because like I felt last season like we were being handed several girls from a similar cloth. And I feel like this season, every girl is a beautiful fabric I've never seen. It's beautiful. I can't stop. I felt every girl was their own beautiful
nice in a
fabric.
broadcast.
Right. I also want to say, Jane, don't. I feel like you and I would fucking vibe. I wish you still smoked more. It's okay that you don't. But I feel like you and I could sit back, watch some Drop Dead Diva, and have a fucking night of it with a bottle of Moscato. You know what I mean?
I love that she's a Seattle queen and a lawyer. Like this is a drag professional who's also a professional, and this is what I'm like. I felt like
the law school bet.
Yeah.
We have there's a mechanical engineer in here too. Is that true?
Yep, we have a mechanical engineer. I mean, like these are
queen after my own heart.
Yep. We've got a queen who is an accomplished professional, dancer, performer, producer.
Mm-hmm. We've got a nurse.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, so this is a really accomplished professional bunch. I love that because I think people should have cool careers and do everything. I worry about the shattering of the American dream in that I feel like all these people probably work these really difficult jobs and still don't make enough money, such that they're hoping that a good turn on Drag Race will allow them to perform and breathe and make some extra money.
You're not wrong, buddy.
No,
You're
I know.
Not wrong.
I know, and I'm sort of no one should have to be both a lawyer and a drag queen that is trying to get success. You should be doing the drag part because you love it.
Reception indicator. Everyone on Drag Race has a day job. Oh yeah, no, it's 2012 again.
A full-on career.
Yeah.
Yes, but drag is also in a part where it's very. I don't want to say it is oversaturated,
Yeah.
so a lot of the drag jobs on top of the economy in the US, at least that we're currently in, a lot of them are drying up because there's just so many queens. And so it's hard to get a booking, and it's hard to I don't know if there are, outside of people who've been doing it for so long or established queens, I don't know how many newer people getting into the scene get to do drag full-time as their job and have it pay their bills.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
we are seeing the crop of the start of these people who have a full-time day job. I mean, what was her name? Sugar Cane had a 6-figure job in New York that she was like, I made my money, I'm good. I'm gonna just do drag because I love it, and that's what she wants to do. So I think it's where a lot of them are trying to go, but it is very hard even for Drag Race girls now because there's so many of them.
Yeah, and that's Sorry, Nico, go for it.
Oh, I was going to say, and I feel like that's even something that is kind of bleeding over from legitimacy in other fields, like something that the men in this queue are really into baking shows and cooking shows, and half the time somebody's like, yeah, so I helped create a nuclear weapon, and then I made 10 figures, retired, and now I'm a baker. And like, you're so used to that in what are considered legitimate arts by crazy people, that now that everything here is a bit more legitimate, that people understand that drag is an art form. It's beautiful. It's deserving of your respect. It's deserving of your money. You're seeing people have the opportunity to make those same decisions, and it's inspiring, really.
It's definitely inspiring. I continue to worry about that, going into debt and spending $30,000 on your package to come to this show. And then again, not showing most of that $30,000 worth because you're going home early. And going back to, thankfully, hopefully you have a day job and hopefully you have a career and you're making money, but like, it's just, there's a lot of moving parts, and I really hope that there are people that are doing this for the love of it and without stress. But I do know from how the girls talk about it a lot of the time that it's expensive to get here, and somebody is going to have put up a lot of money and not get to show what that money paid for. And my hope is just that everybody's able to take something from the opportunity that allows them to move forward and allows them to get some return on an investment, and not break their back for an art that they love but can't sustain them to pay bills and be able to eat food.
Tori, when Mickey Meeks came out, did you think to yourself, theater girl?
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this one's for me! Yay! I was like, Mikey Meeks looks like they belong right on UK and crushing the competition. I'm so amped.
And she came out with her keys. So
I know.
as a person who is a NICO, who has a stylized NICO name, let me just say, Nini Coco, I respect your game. I understand you. I think you're beautiful. I love that you came out dressed like a star. I am, I don't know. I'm just really into this Meet the Queens. I thought that this is an exciting batch of girls. I thought that this is an energized moment for Drag Race. It's exciting to see how many girls I do feel were underrepresented in the last few seasons. I love the incredible blending of culture that we've got. Proudly Latina girls, we've got Proudly Greek girls. I did just take off my Cuban hat. This is, of course, my Cuban Yankees hat. I wear it all the time, and I love it, but I did want to represent New York for a minute. I feel like where we're getting back to with the show is a kind of like a punch out moment where we're breaking through that you've got to have 10 million people on social media. And we're back to some girls that are like, oh my God, like my three fans, my mother, father, and this camera. Like, we're getting back to that place where it's okay not to be famous before you're on the show that's supposed to make you famous. Mm-hmm. And it's exciting for me because I don't want to say that, like, I think most art should be born from pain and suffering and hunger. I think art without being held to a financial standard, art that is meant to be art, can be powerful and beautiful and incredible. And even when the girls, make the money and they change, that's fine. I want to see it here. And this almost gives it back some of that Canada legitimacy. Not that Canada isn't rich girls, not that Canada isn't wealthy girls that have made it, but we all know that Canada as a country does not necessarily revel in the same economic excess that the United States does, because they still want to maintain their soul. And so it's a little different. And I felt here like these girls will absolutely lip sync for their life and not go, well, my rate is increased. And I'm not saying anybody did that last year, but this is a group of girls that are gonna fight, and for it, not each other. Maybe we'll fight each other, but I think they're all going to be lovely. And I would love to get a few more thoughts, sound off on this, move on to UK. This is like Pokemon with a link cable. There is so much trade here. This is outrageously well directed for a Meet the Queens. All of the girls' looks had a really well put together cohesiveness. This could all sit in the same Barbie binder. And I hope that the season delivers on the promise of the personalities, because if it doesn't, it's not the fault of the girls. Sometimes the most beautiful colors come together to make the weirdest painting, and that's not any color's fault. So I'm really excited to see where this is going to go. Guys, hit me down the line.
That'll be me to start, I guess.
Yeah, because you're right below me in the line.
I know. Yeah, I mean, this was my ears perked up pretty early on in this Meet the Queens, and I really enjoyed it. And my questions became like, again, was it a casting choice to pick a bunch of girls who had sort of a different idea and similar ideas about the energy that they were going to bring onto the show? Was it a production choice to say like, hey, let's highlight these features about the girls? And even stupid things like are you going to do your big one question and what's your signature scent indicated that they were doing something a little different. For the Meet the Queens that really benefited them. We talked about how Canada's Meet the Queens kind of didn't benefit the girls. I didn't do anything bad, but they're such an amazing cast. And I didn't fall in love with them in the Meet the Queens. I didn't dislike anybody really, but I didn't fall in love with them. And then literally the minute every single one stepped into the room on the first episode, I loved them immediately and just continued to. So with this Meet the Queens, I really did love these girls right off the bat, each one. And I hope that we build on that and that it's not sort of a new producer is working on Meet the Queens who did a great job, and then it's the same old gang on the show, maybe not doing the job that I would like. As you said, Nico, if it's not great, I really, in this case, don't think it's the fault of the girls, because I'm sensing something in them from what they talked about that just tells me that this is an interesting group. But I am putting the sword to World to Wonder. I don't think they always do right by the girls. I do think there's things like, if the Rusical is great, you give people the chance to shine. And if it's not, that is no girl's fault. No girl writes the Rusical, but that reflects on, they don't get a chance to shine. If the Snatch Game format is weird, if the Snatch Game is done with 18 girls, it doesn't have the same volley as waiting until waiting till it's 8 girls, and it's a totally different thing. So who knows what it will be, but I really do hope. I'm particularly interested in this thing that you said, Nico, about like girls are coming with pretty specific talents and then not other talents and not talking about them. What is it going to, if you say I'm not a dancer, are we talking like, are you going to face plant when we have to do a girl group challenge? Or are you just not the best dancer? And when the girl group challenge comes, you're going to apply your energy and talent in a way that, even though it's like a unimpressive 2-step, we fall in love with you for it because you're really doing it? Or is it just going to be like, well, no, I have no idea how to dance, so I'm screwed for this challenge, or I've never sewn anything, so I'm screwed for the design challenge. I'm interested to see with this particular group, because they are talking about things that they're really strong in, and they just seem to have this sort of vibe about them when it comes to the idea of drag that leads me to believe I might be surprised by a girl who is outside her comfort zone in a particular challenge. And I hope these are all things that we see. Excited for this season, really trying to temper my expectations though, because boy, World of Wonder has let me and the girls down more than once in the last few years. And I want to figure out how to honor how great I think they are with how I know the show is a business that is trying to, first and foremost make money, not trying first and foremost to make sure everybody comes out of this looking as great as they actually are.
And now I'm terrified that the Rusical this season is going to be Wicked Foreskin.
Yeah, you should be, because I think that's close to accurate.
Tori, save us.
I'm so amped for the season. I think these gals look great. I think, I'm excited to have Kenya Pleaser bringing it for the big girls. I'm excited for Vita Von Testar. Really, really caught my eye. Didi Fuego. I think we've got some really crazy talent on here that I'm very excited for. I think Discord Adams is going to be something interesting this season. I'm really interested to see how she kind of fits in, how Rue responds to that, because I feel like her alternative style is a little more than we've had from the alternative girls before. And I think Sierra Miss is just a hoot, just a bisexual hoot.
So I am very excited for the season. I'm always excited for Drag Race. I'm super pumped. My two things that I'm really looking forward to. Well, one is I've known about Discord Adams for eons, I feel like, at this point. So I'm so excited that she actually got on the show. I'm excited to see what she can do. And it's always like fun when you recognize a name and you're like, oh, I know her. Like I recognize that. Two, I'm so happy we got more Philly representation. Thank you, Candy Mango. I haven't got
Birds
in Philly, but yes, go Birds. And I mean, if you perform in Philly, we have to go out and see her now. And three, my biggest hope is I think I'm coming to find what makes or breaks a really good drag season is the chemistry between the cast. I think we see that with Canada 6 having great chemistry with one another, whether it's positive or negative, leading to entertainment and beautiful moments that make for good TV. And I think the opposite of that is true on UK 7, where the chemistry between all the girls is a little weird and they're not as, something is off. So I think part of the vibes for that season is now also being off because they're not meshing in a way that becomes entertainment. So my biggest hope is that that they cook with this chemistry. That's my biggest hope.
Mm-hmm.
And, my understanding is that they do. I saw some... I'm not as deep into social media as you and Tori tend to get when it comes to this franchise. But in getting material for this episode, I saw some, snaps of the whole cast at breakfast and stuff.
Aww.
And so everyone looked really cute and really sweet. This cast is really interesting. The family connections are really interesting. Something that I was saying would be wild to do down the line is like an all family season or something, like maybe for the 20th or something big. But because there are so many family connections, some sort of like mother-daughter pageant would be really fascinating to do at some point, bringing back old queens, or whether they're the mother or the daughter. That would be a really fascinating way to present something like that, sort of half all-stars, half new queens, giving these ideas away for free if you will let us interview you when you do it. Sierra Mist, obviously, I want to, of all the queens, make sure that I shout out her. The deep cut references by saying Power Rangers in Space and Lost Galaxy, which is the season where the Power Rangers are polyamorous. Watch it and you'll see it. There's an episode where they're literally all just like in a cuddle pile. It's bizarre. But
this is not the Sierra Mist that owns Sierra Mist, right?
No.
Because that one spells it like the actual soda.
There's a queen that owns...
She owns the name now because
that
Sierra Mist company forgot.
She spells it the right way.
There's a girl who owns the name Sierra Mist because the company forgot to refile their trademark. They were after her for years.
Pepsi.
And they forgot to file the trademark, and so now that's why it's spray or whatever it is now.
Work. No, I love that.
I was like, I don't think it's this drag queen, but it would be cool if it was this drag queen. I feel like they would have talked about it on the show. So anyway.
It would definitely come up if it was the case. But between that and Tommy and Kimberly reference, I loved her. I love these queens. I love the look of this season. And I am very excited to come back in a month and talk about it. Hooray.
And until Dr. Pepper joins the cast of Drag Race, all right, okay, so there is a lot of conversation on the interwebs, if any of you have ever heard of the internet. There's a lot of conversation there about how this season of Drag Race UK was a clunker. And I don't want that to ever be that the girls were clunkers, because each one of these girls is a DLC pack I would pay for. I want them in my unbelievable doll collection. They are all beautiful, talented, extraordinary, clever, daring, all of them. To go on TV and do what they do, some of them half my age. Breathtaking, really. But the season sucked. And that's like a hard conversation. You know what I mean? Like when your favorite artist puts out a bad album with a lot of great vocals, like what do you do? Right. I'm absolutely here to celebrate Bones. I think that Celexa got edged and then kicked out of bed. That was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I think that Katrin was picked over Tayris because Katrin had shinier clothes, not because any girl didn't belong in the finale, but like in that moment, it really seemed to be like, not Tayris, she looks cheaper.
I also think we're just like Katrin more and like the humor. And I think they thought this moment would be better with Katrin.
I just really would have given it to Elle personally of the four. I loved all of their parents. The musical number was amazing in this finale. So good. So toy. But I probably won't think about this season again as though it were the first season of Down Under. It was just not a season I enjoyed as much as I thought every single girl was $1 million.
You know, Jonah, just real quick, Jonah said something about he didn't really feel like there was the same emotional connection here that there has been on some other seasons. And, you know, with what you were saying, it really feels like this season is one of those seasons that really makes you very aware that these are people who were cast in a season of reality television and they are just kind of stuck together. And, you know, no one has ill will. Everyone gets along as well as they can, but not every season is kumbaya. Some season is just, we're here together.
What's really wild is outside of US mainline Drag Race, we haven't had another season 7 until now, and
shut up.
Season 7 is notoriously a bad season of US, but again, it's not the girls because that's Trixie's season, that's Katya's season, it's Ginger Minja's season, that's Miss Fame, but
that's Jasmine Kennedy, not Jasmine Kennedy, Jasmine Masters. It's Jasmine Masters season.
Kennedy, isn't it?
What's that?
And it's Kennedy.
Kennedy Davenport. Pearl, I mean, I don't love Pearl, but like she's very popular and created a lot of moments. It's the production did not do well by the girls on that season, a thing that we talk about. And then Kevo, it is that thing that you talked about with that season too. Those girls are all just such, I don't think they have great chemistry. Katya and Trixie are not Katya and Trixie on that show at that time. Like that.
No, they don't even talk.
No.
They barely spoke.
Miss Fame doesn't feel like the woman that like the Miranda Priestley of drag that she is in real life now. Violet doesn't feel like the Anna Wintour of drag that she is now. Nobody feels like themselves, and they don't interact well together. There's not a lot going on. You know, I think weirdly one of the most like consistent people who is great on the show and then, you know, has good chemistry with everybody and then that continues for the rest of her career is Kennedy. That's where we get after a night of hook and Trey didn't like the session. That's in the main part of the season. That's just how Kennedy is. Woo! But like Little Richard, like the girls bring greatness, but it's not a good season. It's not their fault. They're presented with a lot of bad stuff. Shakespeare was a really like
bad.
It was such a bad challenge that is a memorable season. And what's really unfortunate here is there was nothing that the show subjected these poor kids to that was so bad that we can take that and be like, these amazing girls got this garbage, and I'll always remember how they worked with the garbage. There's no, I'm gonna tan with you. I'll kind of remember the pop girl number, but it wasn't so bad. It just wasn't great. And there's not a lot to take away, except for just kind of memories of production really putting their foot on the scales in weird ways. I think Bones is just such a phenomenal queen. I thought Bones would maybe be fifth out, because that is a position of like, yeah, I'm already a professional, I can go. I'm just gonna go continue to be like a very famous queen in my scene, and then I'll go on to become the Alyssa Edwards of my generation. I thought she deserved greatness and deserved to win. I thought she would go earlier because she didn't need this. And I thought Paige would make it to the top 3 because Paige's storyline was sort of that of a Sasha Colby, and how we got to where we were, I don't feel like I understand from watching what happened on the show, unless I just really account for like, oh, this is just what somebody who I don't know who works backstage wanted to happen. And that's an ugly way to walk away from this for the girls, because they are very talented and they just deserve to be able to move through this as it's happening rather than according to writing and expectations. But I love Bones, happy for her to be the winner. And I hope she's able to really do some cool stuff in this next year that justifies winning a season where production didn't do right by her and her colleagues.
And don't forget that you can come in second, like Lavoie, my all-time favorite girl, and go on to kill it at Strictly.
Yeah.
And
until Strictly killed you.
Well, yeah. And speaking of Alyssa, I just want to say we saw her do a Christmas guest spot. She showed up at our Christmas show in Jersey.
Oh my God, right.
She showed up and called Canada, Connecticut, and then realized what she said and fixed it to Canada. And then she's going to be on Canada next week.
Yeah.
And I'm just really grateful that she's here for the reading challenge. So now we know she knows how to read.
I can't do it.
Okay. But like, you're so right, because like, everybody knows that by this point I came to the show literally because I was already like in love with Trixie, and so like Jonah got me to watch the show through the fact that I was already in love with Trixie, and so like you can be an early out and go on to be the wealthiest drag queen in the world.
Yeah.
Well, second.
This is true. Tori, tell me. How did you feel about the end of what some people are calling an season of UK?
I feel like I was I probably feel a lot like Celexa. I feel very edged. I think I wanted to understand more of the season. I think if these eliminations were felt more earned, felt more understood, felt like the girls were understood better. I feel like some of this was just chosen because production decided to cut its losses the moment it didn't get exactly what it wanted out of each girl. And I don't know how I feel about that. And I think that's a real shame, because I think we've got a lot of really great girls who represented some really decent drag that's happening out in different places, and I think they can really grow and become something so much more. And it's always really nice to see Jinx Monsoon walk the runway again in her beautiful red dress. She does.
First thing I thought too.
I was like, this is literally it. But I think we had a semi-fine finale. I'll be interested to see if this is the kind of shock to the system that I'm still a little behind, but I hear that Down Under 3 might have been. And so maybe this'll make folks over there pay a little more attention. Now that we're handing out money, we might as well do it right.
Speaking of doing it right, Jonah, there are so many girls here in so much phenomenal fashion, and I feel like you must have been living for Sally and so much of these looks. How were you with this finale?
UK was like part of what helped make Drag Race this international brand. It started with Thailand season 1, season 1, not 2.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe both. Came out before any of these, and it was the first international season, so we give credit where credit is due. But
Yes.
UK 1 really kind of helped make this idea of like, oh, drag is international. Drag is all over the world. It's a phenomenon.
Mhm.
But I don't know if there just is a problem with the number 7. Because, as TK was talking about, US 7, by no problem of the girls who are all successful, incredible, some of the most memorable queens from the show, especially during, I feel old saying this, during that show's era, that we talk about still to this day, that are meme queens, that are like iconic to the idea of Drag Race and its Drag Race culture. I wonder if just something went wrong here. I personally think what went wrong was between eliminating Sally, Paige, Bonnie back to back to back. Really kind of just 3 people who I think in my brain had potential to be in the top. Just kind of like not sullied, but made this idea of like, oh, are they aware of what they're doing? I was really hoping L1, partially because I wanted this to be the first time an Irish queen won the main season. We give credit where credit is due. Blue Hydrangea did win UK versus the World 1, and that was so incredible and a great feat. I know. Great moment. The whale can still be heard backstage. But I just don't know. I don't know what happened. I feel like this season just couldn't get its footing. And I also want to give credit and be positive about our winner. I adore Bones. One, she got a lethal face card. I love her face. 2, she got a great fashion sense. She knows how to put a look together. I just don't know if her personality is a TV personality. So a lot of what makes Bones incredible as a drag entertainer, I don't know if it's just not reading on camera, because that's just not who she is. I think she's just kind of like a little bit more of a mellow person. And at one point, one of the episodes, she kind of did talk about her anxiety and how she never really understood why she has this desire and like feeling like she has to make herself small. And that is relatable, and that is something to talk about. She also did an interview, I think like right before the finale or a little bit after, talking about how she loves drag, but she's not so much into performance. She's much more into show production and putting the show together and making, like, getting the cast, getting the music, doing everything to make this an amazing performance. That's a lot of where her passion and desire lies. And that's really interesting, but I don't know if that's what Drag Race wants in a winner. I'm just confused as to what they wanted Bones as a winner. Because I think if they went with Elle is so malleable and talented at 22, it's really easy to push her to be something. And she's gonna be great. She's gonna have a fantastic career. All of them are. I just feel bad that this season isn't sullied by predictability. I hope it's not sullied by predictability. And it's made me realize how much I enjoy Kyron Thrax. I was so happy to see her.
Oh my god. The return of the hello audition tapes was amazing.
Yes.
Love.
And so it's unfortunate that this isn't the best season. It happens. It's not, again, I hope if any of the UK girls you're seeing this, it's not your fault. It's nothing that you guys did wrong. I genuinely do blame production on everything. I want to love a season. I never want to go into a season hoping it's bad. And it's not, like I said, not your fault. It's the way that they dealt the cards. They're trying to play poker when you guys are trying to play bridge, you know?
And Kevo, would you do me a favor and would you flip back to Alexa's audition tape look? Because I just want to point out that in this outfit, she is very clearly a level from Sonic the Hedgehog. Thank you.
Well, and also thank you for drawing us back to it, because I wanted to remember to say checks. What is the theme here, girls?
Multiple items. We saw Katrin's sweater at the beginning of the episode. One of them's in the literal same outfit. Like, it is just, we have 3 cold looks in the UK. It is wild. I actually almost want to think I would double check, because I know that a lot of the queens in the UK move to a major city like a London, like a Manchester, but then claim a different town on Drag Race to kind of elevate the scene that they originally came from. But I don't know if I don't think the UK has had I guess Kyron sort of, but we haven't really had a London queen. And that is what Bones is that Bones is the London queen. And so I think it would almost be like if we had made it to season 7 of RuPaul's Drag Race and not crowned anyone from New York or LA. Like, it would have been a little confusing to that town. So it almost makes me think that maybe they stopped seeing London girls decide to audition.
Kevo, hit me.
And I even think that it's not that this outcome was undeserved in any way, shape, or form.
No.
Like TK said, I think that I felt like page 3 was going to go a lot further. That was very surprising. There were surprises about the road to get here, but it's not that the outcome is incorrect. And the journey matters, and I think that really affected our reactions to this season. It was very strange. But no, love Bones. I was really touched from the moment that she mentioned that she made a drag look with her dad, and then her mom was the one who came on. And I don't know if anyone saw that thing about her mom posted about Bones's win on their British Village Facebook page, saying how excited,
adorable.
So sweet, so cute, and you want stories like this. I get being concerned about her being able to act as an ambassador for the brand, but I hope that this helps her step into it, and step into herself a lot more and really work through that anxiety. As someone who lives with debilitating anxiety myself, it's tough, and so I appreciated her talking about it. And she's really great. She's really cute. Everyone this season was really, really amazing. So we have a lot of talent to look forward to, and whatever's going to come next for the UK, whether it's Versus the World or one of these girlies turning up on that, or global. Where did we see someone was Alyssa referred to as Global All-Stars season 1? No, Pythia
Canada.
Was. Pythia.
Pythia.
Yeah,
Pythia was referred to as Global All-Stars season 1, as if there's already a season 2 coming. There could be. So we'll see.
And we'll definitely be here to cover it, and I can't wait. And until then, I am so excited to remind everybody, you guys can follow all these beautiful people, every single one of them. Jonah, where can everybody follow you if they want to find you online?
You want to find me online? You can follow me places at Peak Jonah.
Tori, hit me.
You can find me online at some Tori. That's Tori with an I.
Hey, producer Kevo, where you at?
You can find me at Kevo Really. That's KEVOREALLY.
TK.
It's TK Accidental.
You guys can find me all over this channel. X is for show, X is for comics, X is for podcast and more here on YouTube. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because we love you. We want to know more about you. If you guys want to follow me, that's Nico Action, NICOACTION. Guys, you got to do us 3 favors. Number 1, you got to stay safe. Crazy world out there. Number 2, you got to be brave. But number 3, evolve daily. Who you were yesterday, amazing. Who you are today, but who you are tomorrow, that's excellence. And we can't wait to see you till then. So stay, not today, Staten.